Global warming has become a worldwide concern that causes increases in global surface temperature, changes in rainfall patterns, and changes in the frequency of extreme weather events. Ice is melting worldwide, especially at the Earth's poles, that result from deaths, calamities, disasters, and other disturbances happening in the environment. Every year, our problem about global warming just keeps on growing because of pollution that we produce. Today, the overwhelming consensus of researchers is that global warming is real and is caused by human activity, primarily the burning of fossil fuels that pump carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Through the generation of electricity, 8 billion tons of greenhouse gases are released every year. Since the beginning of industrial revolution, the demand for energy increases dramatically year after year. Today, this majority of the demand has been met by fossil fuels that largely contribute to the vast emission of carbon. Thus, the global warming by 2030, the global demand for electricity will be twice as high as in 2008. Today, the risk and harmful effect of usage of fossil fuels. People are looking for ways to find ways to lose dependence on fossil fuel, while the renewable energy such as wind, water, and solar has proven their potential. It is still not enough to satisfy the enormous and growing demand for energy. The possible solution is to use nuclear energy that can satisfy the large demand for electricity. In the US, nuclear account for 21% of overall electricity, 41% from coal, 24% from natural gas, renewable energy mostly hydro 12%, and petroleum 1%. While 70% of world electricity comes from fossil fuels, about 16% of the world's electricity comes from nuclear power and 14% from renewable resources. Nuclear power is a clean source of energy that can safely and effectively be used to produce electricity without CO2 emissions that will limit and slow down the effect of global warming. In 2015, 10 new reactors were connected to the grid, 7 reactors were permanently shut down, 441 reactors had a worldwide net capacity of 382,855 megawatts of electricity. 67 new nuclear reactors were under.
Source of uranium. The main source of nuclear energy is coming from uranium element. Uranium is very heavy metal which can be used as an abundant source of concentrated energy. In Olympic Dam, Australia, the largest uranium deposit worldwide. Each year, approximately 4,000 tons of uranium are delivered from Olympic Dam mine to nuclear facilities in Asia, Europe, and the US. It is not only the processing of uranium dangerous, it is also dangerous in the time of mining uranium because it is radioactive. Australia has one of the most world major suppliers of uranium. There is also increasing number of underground mining facilities that also increases their supply of uranium. Australia exports 10,000 tons of uranium every year. In 2007, the export value was above 586 million Australian dollars. It forecasted that will grow every year up to 972 million in 2008 and 1.3 billion Australian dollars by 2012. Australia holds the 40% of the world's uranium.
How nuclear power plant works. In most energy-generating plants like coal, nuclear, or natural gas, some form of energy heat water to produce steam. This steam turns a turbine that is coupled with electromagnet called generator. The generator produces electricity as the turbine turns. While this process is similar to other energy sources, there is a key difference to nuclear energy. Power plant that runs on fossil fuels burn coal, oil, or natural gas to generate heat that creates steams that will turn the turbines. In nuclear power plant, a chain reaction of splitting atom release heat called fission. This reaction takes place in a nuclear reactor. Reactors are designed, built, and operate as the safety as the top priority. Nuclear energy facilities are among the world's safest facility because of multiple redundant layers of safety system and procedure. Beginning on the core of the reactor where metal rods with enriched uranium pellets inside are placed into bundles creating assembly. The bundles are submerged in water inside a pressurized vessel. The reaction takes place inside the nuclear reactor, produces heat that creates steam and causes the turbine to spin and generate the electricity. There are also control rods in the nuclear reactor that are able to absorb any excess neutrons to prevent further fission reaction. Such rods are mostly made of boron and cadmium. To increase the fusion reaction, these rods can be removed inside the nuclear reactor. Pros of nuclear energy. Nuclear energy reduces CO2 emission. Nuclear energy is a possible way in decreasing harmful to the environment in terms of climate change than fossil fuel, which is our main source of energy. Since 1976, about 64 gigatons of greenhouse gases have not pumped out, and this is because of the nuclear energy. And by the mid-21st century, that amount to an additional 80 to 240 gigatons. Humanity's energy consumption is increasing steadily, and according to US government projection, China will add the equivalent of a new 600 megawatts coal plant every 10 days for the next 10 years. China already burns 4 billion tons of coal each year. Coal is cheap, relatively abundant, and easy to get to, so it's not likely that humans will stop using it soon. Nuclear energy might be the only way to moisten the effect of climate change and prevent the catastrophic man-made climate change and global warming. Unlike to other things we do, nuclear energy is relatively clean. And if it's a good idea to quit nuclear energy long term, this might be a great solution for the next 100 years and so, compared to other alternatives. Number 2. Low operating cost. Nuclear power produces very inexpensive electricity. The cost of the uranium, which is utilized as a fuel in this process, is low. Also, even though the expenses of putting up or setting up nuclear power plants is moderately high, the expense of running them is quite low. The normal life of nuclear reactor is anywhere from 40 to 60 years, depending on how often it is used and how it is being used. These variables, when consolidated, makes the expense of delivering power it's low. Even if the cost of uranium goes up, the impact of the cost of power will that be much lower. Number 3. Reliability. It is estimated that with the current rate of consumption of uranium, we have enough uranium for another 70 to 80 years. A nuclear power plant, when in the mode of producing energy, can run uninterruptedly for even a year. As solar and wind are dependent on weather condition, nuclear power plants has no such constraint and can run without disruption in any climatic condition. Nuclear energy becomes the solution or sustainable energy. Number 5. Nuclear saves lives. In 2013, a study conducted by NASA found that nuclear energy has prevented around 1.8 million deaths between 1976 and 2009. Even it includes the deaths tolls on Chernobyl and Fukushima, nuclear energy ranked last in deaths per energy units produced. While nuclear waste is really toxic when chose to its stored somewhere, while the toxic byproduct of fossil fuels are pumped to the air that we breathe every day. So by just reducing the amount of fossil fuel burned, countless cases of cancer or lung diseases or accident in coal minings can be avoided.
Cons of nuclear energy. 1. Environmental impact. One of the biggest issues in environmental impact in relation to uranium. The process of mining and refining uranium hasn't been a clean process. Actually, transporting nuclear fuel and from plants represent a pollution hazard. Also, once the fuel is used, you can simply take it to the landfill. It's radioactive and dangerous. The biggest concern associated with nuclear power is the negative effects that the exposure to radiation can have on human body, animals, plants, and environment in general. Radiation coming from uranium and other reactive elements is increasingly associated with development of cancer. Second, radioactive waste. Disposal. As a rule, a nuclear power plant creates 20 metric tons of nuclear fuel per year, and with that comes from nuclear waste. When you consider each nuclear plant on Earth, you'll find that number jumps to approximately 2,000 metric tons a year. There are two ways on how you treat the nuclear waste. First, complete isolation of waste moves underground for thousands of years until it becomes non-radioactive. Second is what they call reprocessing means the waste undergo another process for extraction of plutonium that can be used in different ways. To use it again as a fuel, and second, to use to make a nuclear weapon. Obviously, reprocessing is ideal to treat waste. However, it is so much expensive to build facility for reprocessing. Today, we are still looking for a perfect place for the tons of nuclear waste can safely dump. Nuclear accidents. The radioactive waste produced can pose serious health effects on lives of people as well as the environment. The Chernobyl accident that occurred on 26 April 1986 at Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine was the worst nuclear accident in the history. Its harmful effects on human and ecology can still be today. Then there was another accident that happened in Fukushima, Japan. Although the casualties were not that high, but it caused serious environmental concerns. And 4. High cost. At present, nuclear business let waste cool for considerable length of time before blending it with the glass and putting away in it enormous coal. Solid structures. This way must be kept up. Observe and watch to keep the materials from falling into wrong hands and causing problems. This administration and included material cost gosh. On the top, high expenses needed to put together a plant which may it less desirable and invest in. It requires permission for several international authorities and is normally opposed by the people who live in that region.
Here in the Philippines, we also have our own nuclear power plant, and that is in the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, also known as the Philippine Nuclear Power Plant 1. It's a nuclear power plant completed but never fueled in Bataan Peninsula, 100 kilometers west of Manila in the Philippines. It is located on a 3.57 square kilometer government conservation at Napot Point in Morong, Bataan. It was the first Philippines' only attempt at building a nuclear power plant. It was built under the Marcos administration. Construction of the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant began in 1976. Following the 1979 Three Mile Island accident in the United States, construction of the BNPP was stopped and subsequent safety inquiry into the plant revealed over 4,000 defects. By 1984, when the BNPP was nearly completed, its cost had reached $2.3 billion US dollars, equipped with the Westinghouse light water reactors. It was designed to produce 621 megawatts of electricity. Marcos was overthrown by the People Power Revolution 1986. Days after the April 1986 Chernobyl disaster, the succeeding administration of the President Corazon Aquino decided not to operate the plant. Among other considerations taken were strong position from the Bataan resident and the Philippine citizen, as well as the concern over the integrity of the construction. The National Power Corporation was mandated by law to preserve and maintain this nuclear plant. It was instituted procedures and programs to keep the aesthetic attributes of the BNPP. Considered to be one among the robust-built nuclear power plant in the world and more advanced in design and younger than more than half of the operating nuclear power plants in the United States of America, the BNPP was designed to withstand the highest postulate earthquake in the Luzon Island and a ground acceleration value of 0.04 G, or intensity 8 in the Richter scale. At 18 meters above sea level of elevation, the BNPP site is well protected against tidal waves and tsunamis. It can sustain operation even if the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant like tsunamis incident of March 11, 2011 happened at this site. If the plant had operated, its 623 megawatts electrical capacity could have provided at least 10% of the present power requirement for the Luzon grid. It could have started the nuclear regime in the country, which can bring the Philippine economy at greater heights like Korea or Taiwan perhaps. One of the concerns in building the nuclear power plant is the radiation, and it is said that coal ash is more radioactive than nuclear waste. In fact, eating banana is more radioactive than standing in front of the nuclear power plant for an entire year, with the former containing 0.1 microsieverts while the latter exposes you to 0.09 microsieverts of radiation. The projected cost and rehabilitation of nuclear power plant in Bataan is $1 billion. The BNPP energy efficient in one pallet of almost the size of a eraser in a pencil can generate electricity of an average household in 9 months.
Anong epekto ng pag-generate natin ng electricity ngayon sa global warming?
Yung parang sa mga production ng energy, di ba ginagamit nila ng fossil fuels na ginagamit yung charcoal. So yung charcoal, nagpo-produce ng carbon dioxide na pwedeng makasama sa health ng mga tao.
Next question, ano yung uranium sa tingin?
Ginagamit para mag-produce ng energy. Para sa mga
Ano yung naman yung opinion nyo about sa dapat bang buksan or hindi yung nuclear power plant sa Bataan?
Hindi. Okay lang, siguro walang ma-pero na malapit. Kasi diba mag-generate na yung power. Kaso, maraming mga taong ma-pero. So, huwag na yun.
Tingin nyo sa pagbubukas nila or yung pinabalita nila pagbubukas ng nuclear power plant sa Bataan?
Ako dun sa Bataan, feeling ko okay lang naman kasi nowadays napapansin natin may shortage tayo sa electricity. So do alam ko na medyo delikado pero siguro para sa akin malaking tulong siya kung sakaling mabubuksan yun. Yun na.
Thank you.
Sana nakatulong
Naging contribution ng pag-generate natin ng electricity ngayon sa global warming.
Yung isang factor dyan, yung mga nilalabas na usok ng mga power plant. Like yung diesel power plant, iba yung mga yan eh. Pero yung dyan, yung mga power plant na naglalabas ng usok sa mga... So yun, lumalabas, syempre, nakaka-apekto yun sa global warming.
Sa second question, paano yung sa tingin na sa ginagamit yung uranium?
Uranium? Ginagamit yun sa mga power plant sa...
Third question, ano sa tingin nyo, yung thoughts nyo about sa Bataan Nuclear Power Plant? Dapat ba siyang buksan?
Yung Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, may factor na dapat mabuksan yan kasi makakatipid tayo. Kaso, may negative side na magtitake tayo ng risk kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung mangyayari. Like, yung global warming nga, di ba? Baka nakaka-apekto siya, pero yun.
Thank you. Para sa tingin nyo yung naging contribution ng pag-generate natin ng electricity ngayon sa global warming?
So, yung mga tingin ko, mga fossil fuels, solar powers, mga coils, ayun yung mga nag-generate sa kurente ngayon. Bali sa mga course namin, parang ayun yung mga pinag-aaralan natin. So, yun.
Second question naman, ano sa tingin nyo yung uranium?
Uranium, ayun yung ayun yung ginagamit natin ngayon para magpa-generate ng power.
Third question, ano yung thoughts nyo, ano yung tingin nyo sa Bataan Nuclear Power Plant? Dapat ba siyang buksan or hindi?
Para sa akin, kailangan siyang buksan kasi nga, mas pag binuksan yun, mas talagang mas mapapamura yung mga kuryente natin, makakatipid tayo.
Ng pag-generate natin ng electricity sa global warming.
Siguro yung electricity na ginagamit natin ngayon, isa siyang dahilan kung bakit lumalala yung global warming kasi dun sa mismong electricity na yun kung saan nagagaling. So, dun ata siya sa fossil fuels ba yun, na gano'n. So, dahil dun, lalong lumalala yung global warming natin ngayon. So, isa pa, madaming gumagamit na electricity, so yun, mas lalong mabilis na masira.
To open or not, operation of Bataan Nuclear Power Plant remains a key issue in today's nuclear power. What are the main issues? First of all, people. Operation of Bataan nuclear power plant will generate our power enough to give us a sustainable energy source. But on the other hand, these people surrounds the plant will be safe. Will they leave their homes? Can we survive if tragedy occurs? Next, environment. What's best for the Philippines? Nuclear energy is the cheapest and safest for the environment. But again, how can we handle the dangerous radioactive waste? Next, politically. Is there a conspiracy why the Aquino stopped the operation? This Bataan nuclear power plant operation will continue the legacy of the Marcos. And lastly, economically. Nuclear industry provides jobs and income to the economy. But is it enough for the risk that they're facing? Are we ready to operate the Bataan nuclear power plant? What if Fukushima tragedy repeats? Is it worth the risk? We will let you decide. Sustainable energy versus catastrophic accidents that may happen. You decide.
We ain't ever getting older.